the Budget Committee to order. In attendance are Jane Alden, Lynn Fox, John Scanlon, Bob Zott, myself, and ex officio Kathy Dawson. In the audience, we have the other members of the Select Board, the Chairman, Pat Constantino, Sandy Plesner, and Joe Jessamine. It is Jessamine, right?
Yep, with S.
The first order of business are the minutes from the meeting and the special non-public portion of the meeting.
Something's happening, Carol.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Do we have any questions, concerns, comments?
I have one question, and I'm going back from memory. I was trying to look it up, I can't find it. But I have in my notes somewhere that the cost of the water was $650, and 30,000 engineering was to be paid for by the other. $620, this was the $310, $325. The numbers are valid to me at this point. Not that the minutes are wrong, that's just a question about the minutes.
There was some discussion at some point, I'm not exactly sure where and when it was, that $30,000 would be coming out against it, but that $650,000 was what the warrant article had been written at.
Yeah, it has to be.
Has to be for the whole amount.
So the town is not
Right, and that'll be part of what we'll discuss when we get down to the final item on the agenda. We'll get a little bit further into the warrant article, if that's okay, Bob.
Before I print off that copies, nobody has this, right?
Is that the detail? The only thing I had with me is the summary of the financials. I didn't print off the copy of the details.
He printed everybody a copy of the details.
I can't find them.
He had a whole stack for Catherine to give Joanna.
Are they could they possibly be upstairs at her desk, up at Joanna's desk?
She wasn't here all day.
She wasn't here all day, so I doubt
Right,
it.
Yesterday, he did it
Right,
yesterday.
she said that she.
Oh,
Let
maybe
me go
that's where
look.
they are.
I'll go
All
look.
right, because before I print all of these,
Thank you, Sandy. No, because normally they are, that's why I asked, they normally are here for us. Another note, Catherine, just to confirm with you, the non-public portion of these minutes are to be kept under wraps, basically, to make sure that they're not someplace where others can see them, or?
I don't know where they are.
Well, no, they're here, but I just meant
Sealed.
within they're sealed minutes, so they should be, they should not just be left out in some other location at home or.
Normally, we don't take these. Normally, we don't make a copy for the selectmen. We don't make a copy for everybody. We pass one copy in a manila envelope that's marked confidential.
Okay.
So my suggestion is after everyone reads these,
Shred them.
turn them in,
And then they
have
can
them
be,
shredded, and keep one copy in a manila envelope
okay.
and marked confidential.
All right, we have the manila envelope, I have one copy in here, I'll write confidential on it. And the others, we can shred at the
You
end
can
of
be
the meeting.
removed from office for revealing
And
anything in non-public.
that's kind of what I was
There's no,
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
no gray area there either.
Here, you can put mine in there now, too. Sure.
That's what they were.
There's another set up there that's not stapled in case you need more.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Mom.
Full set, not duplex.
Was it we need?
No, I thought about it.
I love
Just the
them.
green.
Yeah, just the greens, and they're delicious when they're small.
The roots are great for the
Right.
liver.
Because he always makes.
You dry the roots, crush them, dry them,
Yeah.
use the tincture, it's great for
And the greens.
If there are no other questions, concerns, or comments about the minutes, then I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes, both of them as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other comments in regards to the minutes? Either one? No? Okay. Hearing no other motions or questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. Okay, I pulled the one from that packet. Get yours. Did you, can I take those back? Okay, I think that I've got all of them back.
And pull the staples today, re-shredded. Re-shredded with them. We are good staples.
If you would like, you've got a knife handy, you're more than welcome to pull the staples. There is one copy left in the manila envelope to go back upstairs. Alrighty, the next item on the agenda is scheduling. As we had discussed at the, before we ended the last meeting, I'd like to have the PD come in and the highway department come in just to give us an overview of where they stand, how they feel about their budgets. We do this about every summer. I can't remember once since I've been here that we haven't asked us to come in and just give us a rundown and see where problem spots are and stuff like that. So our next meeting is scheduled for June 8th. That would be the second Wednesday in June. We've had them come in individually in the past, and that would be, I think, the best way to do it, so that we don't have somebody, one or the other of them sitting here in the audience waiting their turn and not knowing whether it's going to be 15 minutes or an hour. So I'm going to suggest that we have the Chief Cormier, come in on June 8th. Unless anybody has any other thoughts.
Will he be back?
He won't be back, okay.
June 10th.
He won't be back, then we'll ask Dennis to come in on June 8th. Okay. Thank you. So highway.
Graduates on the 10th.
Then we'll wait. In July, the second Wednesday is the 13th. I will not be in town. We normally have taken 1 month off, so if there's going to be 3 of us
July,
not here, then it sounds like July would be the month to skip a meeting. And that being the case, then after the June meeting, we will ask Joanna to post a draft of the minutes, because it'll be almost 2 months before we get a chance to vote on them. Okay, so there'll be no meeting on the 13th of July. Moves us into August. I have August 10th is the second Wednesday, and the chief will be back by then. It gives him 2 more months after graduation to get here, so we will ask the chief to come in.
Let's see if that's slow. I think I'm out of town.
Okay.
And I have a business conference to go to.
I will be here for that, so. Alrighty, at this time, we'll just leave it at that. The 2 coming in, the highway and the PD. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, anything else that they'd like to see on the schedule at any time? If anything comes up, please email either myself or Joanna and let me know.
Towards the beginning of the busy season, we should see if we can schedule some meetings at with the police department or public works that works well, so we can
Mhm.
show us his needs that are coming up.
Right, when we get into September, October, that'll be after that, and it gives us plenty of time between now and then to review. And we will have seen the PD on the third, in August, so it might be best to put him back out until October, something like that. You know, just go back to September, do ask the highway or just check and see if things look odd or if it looks like things are getting tight in the budget at any time. We have questions, we always have Catherine here to help us out, and at any time, questions, comments, you know, concerns can always go to the selectmen and to Tim in regards to the financials, if we just have a list of what we're looking for, you know, and anybody can come up with questions and what, you know, if they see something in the financials. I mean, for the most part, we discuss them here anyways, and they're the same items that keep popping up. Things that are spent at 98% now are gonna be spent at 98%. Or 102, or 150, whatever it takes. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the review of the budget to date. But before I get into that, I had a note here, and I should have brought this up when we were reviewing the minutes. I'd asked for a copy of the welfare guidelines. They were part of the minutes. Do we have something? Is that something we don't? Just the guidelines, just what is used for criteria?
I have them in my machine, I can send them to you, but it will be a few days. I'm supposed to get my machine back tomorrow, but as soon as I get it back.
It was just something so that we could have it. It was something that was asked for at the last meeting.
Right.
And it's just the guidelines. I'm not looking for anything particular to anybody, but just what is used
Right.
as criteria.
Right.
The guidelines as it pertains to Heather or Tim? Our financial records?
No welfare.
Welfare,
The
you know,
welfare
What the
guidelines,
criteria is for
for
welfare.
assistance,
the rules and regulations
you know.
that she has at the selectmen.
I'm not following this.
Just if somebody comes in asking for assistance, you
What-
know, what, you know, is it a certain, is it certain income limits, is there certain, you know, circumstances, there's certain procedures, not necessarily procedures, but what are the guidelines that,
That's state law. That's quite a document.
Why do we need
Is that
that?
available online? That is
Well,
state.
it's a compilation of state laws and
if I
administrative
could just get the
rules.
RSA, then that's all, it was just something to, do you know what the RSA is offline?
We can, is Heather back yet?
Yes. Yeah, she just got that
Okay.
this week.
Let's ask Heather to compile a list of the RSAs and administrative rules.
There's several.
Yeah, that she
Yes.
uses, because
Right.
it would be quite a document to print all that out.
No, I'm not looking for anything printed out or anything like that.
Okay.
No,
Let's ask
What
Heather to
part do we
compile
need of that, Tony?
just to see what the criteria is to what is being used for guidelines in the office.
The one thing though, with welfare, it's not a black and white issue. There's lots of gray within it, and so, I mean, even though you have a document that says, here's a criteria guidelines, you can only use it as a
Well,
guideline.
I mean, is Heather required to make judgment calls on whether somebody, I mean, there
Um,
must be specific criteria that somebody has to
No.
meet to receive assistance.
Yes,
That's-
there is.
it's-
And that's
yeah.
basically it, just,
Right.
you know, just
Right.
financial guidelines.
We could have Representative Kirk from Ware come in and explain it to us.
Only if you're gonna take up smoking.
Or begging on the street.
Yeah.
Whenever. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help that.
Sorry, okay. Alrighty, back to the budget review to date. I took my, I printed off a copy of the summary, as that's normally what we start with. It's the easiest place for me to look. The first item that really jumps out, of course, is the administrative dues.
That's an item that's usually paid up front.
Right, that's up front. The administrative advertising, is that due to the special meeting postings?
Well, it's not a special town meeting, but it is due to the town meeting. We are in what, phase 4?
The advertising?
It's also because we've had to advertise twice for janitorial, custodial staff.
We had a company doing the janitorial at one point, and then we brought somebody in
That was,
to do it
God,
part-time. That was a while ago.
4 years ago, I think. And then what we did is we priced it out, compared it to if we hired someone to do it. And we did for quite a while have someone that worked and did the PD, Town Hall, and Riverfront Park. I don't think, they didn't do the highway, right? They do their own thing over there. But he left, when did Adam leave, this fall?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In the
In
fall.
the fall. So then we've been trying to find people since.
I've seen the ad in the paper.
And we didn't really budget enough, quite frankly.
I think
The
that people
wage.
jump all over that.
The wage wasn't high enough.
And we have 15 applications to interview
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
And the age wasn't high enough?
No, when they see the wage, it was
Oh.
like we ended up with an,
Okay.
basically a kid that had come over to do community service
Oh.
from the court.
Is there something that we should be aware of in regards to vehicle maintenance? Because I noticed the vehicle maintenance was up just a tad here, under admin, but there was also up under the PD, if I remember. Yeah, it's,
Vehicle maintenance is the town car for us. I don't
And
think there's anything,
nothing
glaring.
Fuel doesn't come under that, does it?
Pardon?
Does fuel come under that? Gas for the car?
I wouldn't think so.
No,
I wouldn't think so either, but, but that would account for it being high.
My maintenance and repair, that's a good question.
the vehicle maintenance under the PD was at 43, and at this point, we should be at about 34% spent on the lines. I mean, overall, we're at 31% spent, which overall, within each department is, really good. Health and welfare is at 50%, that's because a lot of the agencies under health agencies are all paid 100%, lump sum, upfront, paid.
Hands come out real quick.
We had some issues with a few cruisers,
Under the vehicle maintenance.
unusual, yeah.
I'm gonna run in.
I also noticed that the life and disability amounts seem high. Do we pay them at certain amounts? Is there a reason why are they being paid ahead, or is the contract higher than what we had expected?
I don't know of it being ahead. I don't think there's any reason why we pay it ahead. No, I'm not aware of anything unusual, unless
There's no salary changes, so it shouldn't be.
we just, the only thing we have
It's
is
not
the
based on
part-timers
salaries.
at the PD.
But that wouldn't be on the town hall portion of it. The town hall is at 40%.
If you're paying it at $609 a month, you've still got 8 months to go, another $4,800.
Yeah.
That's gonna be coming to 7,200 this one.
I don't know of any. There's nothing
The only other
unusual
thing,
in town hall.
I guess is the PD portion of it is down. It's only at 29%. Maybe could it?
This would be the beginning, I don't know if he pays it quarterly, which isn't you know, this is the end of the second quarter, isn't it?
It's a month to date, $600.
Yeah, it's like,
But if it's $600 a month.
That would be 7,200 a year, or
Yeah,
7,300 a year.
4,000, that would be 7,200.
I don't
So
know.
at that rate, it's gonna be well over.
Is this one of those lines that, it all gets billed, all comes out of one and then gets dispersed? Could that, is that a question for Tim?
I think it's a question for Tim, but I think if you look in PD, you'll see life and disability there, and yes, you do. And I think if you look at highway, you see life and disability, because we've been trying to make this over the years more,
Right.
so you look at the highway and that's the highway.
Highways are
And
up.
you'll see life and
Yeah.
disability in the highway, so I think that life and disability is
No,
just
no.
town hall.
The highway's
highways are
39% and
Yeah,
PD's
so
40%, so it's kind of the same.
The PD I thought was down 29.
Was there a rate increase or something?
Highway life and disability is 39.
29. Well, the highway is 39, the PD is only 29. That's why I was questioning whether, because
But there's the same question that Bob asked, we
$2,000 a
budgeted
month.
19,368, and it's at 2,000 a month, that means 24,000 instead of, you know, so there must be something, obviously something
They all seem
we're
like
not
they're
seeing
higher.
about that number.
The reason that the health and disability is a little high is they take 2 months together. So it's going to skew the numbers a little bit, but it'll even itself out.
Does he normally pay 2 months together?
No, it was just a situation that came up. There was no penalty for doing it that way, but that's why he did it.
2 months together.
Yep.
Okay, if we could just.
If you look in
confirm
the detail, you'll see it.
that. Thank you, Sandy. The janitorial supplies are up at, for the town hall, are up 50%, up at 50%, spent at 50%.
But nothing at all was spent this month.
And there's only 22% at the PD.
Is that your new vacuum?
No,
That might be, no, because that was
No.
under, that
that
was
was
under,
under
under equipment, right?
There was
Other
some
equipment.
conversation about us ordering all the
We've
supplies
been
for
ordering
the
the supplies
PD
and the PD,
and
and then
us
they take it up
combined and
there.
then showing,
Right,
Right, that's,
just to get a better price because it's one
right,
of
the person that's been cleaning it's been taking it from here and bringing it there.
Right.
the workers' comp under the admin, the town hall is at 50%, and at this rate, it's gonna be projected to be about $13,000 short if this continues. Is this another one of those with something paid twice? There's nothing in there for this month to date, so.
Is it quarterly bill possibly, and we paid second quarter?
Mm.
I think they go quarterly for the insurance.
You're right.
workman's compensation insurance. Year-to-date expense looks like he's paid half of it. So you must have paid something ahead.
Well, if it's quarters, that would make sense, if you pay the first and second quarter,
Exactly
Right.
half.
You
that
can't,
would be 50%.
you can't run it out with insurance, and want to pay ahead.
That's probably what that is.
Start talking without Tim.
The town clerk tax collector, the election preparation. This is overspent. it's already up to 112%. This is because of the continuing, and it will only get worse because we have another, meeting.
Couple elections and things.
Right.
Election preparation, would the town meeting come out of
Town
that
meeting,
too?
yeah.
Town
Yes.
meeting and
Special town
anything
meeting
like that, yes.
and elections
It's not a
come up?
special town meeting.
It's an extension.
Extension.
Continuation.
It's the continuation of town meeting
Right.
due to reconsideration.
Round three.
There's been too much confusion on the special town meeting thing.
Yeah. Okay. Back when we were working on the budget, when we were developing it, there were questions under the financial administration in regards to the technology expense, because it's spent at 65% now. Do we have everything that was originally on the list that we were given purchased, or is that stuff, some of that stuff still waiting to be purchased? Because we got a different list than what the selectmen got, if you remember.
But we were gonna go with that one.
Well,
I
there's,
think that
it,
there's some of the things that you can't buy, like the streaming, the monthly streaming fee. With that, you can't purchase that ahead. That's a monthly purchase fee. There's,
There was a lot
there's
of
two pieces of
equipment.
equipment, I believe, that, two replacements he hasn't replaced yet. He's still looking into that. So, I think he's gonna be within his budget.
Okay. Thank you.
except for the unexpected.
Right.
Oh,
We're having trouble with the land use computer.
Right.
And I noticed on the debt principal, the principal on long-term bonds and the interest on long-term bonds are very high, but the user-paid portions of those are pretty much non-existent. Is that,
Non-existent.
well, it's, for the
It's
principal.
low.
Yeah,
When it says user paid, those are sewer.
those are sewer bonds.
Those are sewer.
Is he expediting the payment of these?
When we can,
It looks as though he is.
yes, when we can, we do.
The bank's way.
Especially as we get closer to the end of one, if we can get it paid off and save some, we do.
Sure.
Just like anybody would,
Yeah,
car loan.
half a range, pretty much.
Save on that interest, so.
Yeah. Because the debt on the principal on it is at 69%, and then the user paid portion that's listed below it is only at 5%. Then it's at 85%, and then 4.9%, so it's quite a difference between those.
Those two are sold.
Where it says user paid, those are the sewer,
The sold.
probably the Anchorage and Lochmere. I'm guessing.
Under the land use, the supplies, and the postage and the advertising, and overall they're at 25%, but those three items are up pretty high.
Had a lot more cases.
Cases as in,
That's come before the board, which of course, depending on the number of, granted, we get money from the client as well, but all the abutter notices that have to go out, that's all shown is an expense.
Yeah, the
last,
land use income's at 52%, so that's up there too, so that
Right.
shows that
Mm.
it is coming in on the other end.
Well, and Walmart, but they haven't gotten their final yet, have they?
Oh, we're finished with Walmart, but they can't start anything until all the conditions have been satisfied.
But so they've had their final approval?
Yes.
Yeah,
That one was great.
we have empty tractor dragging out now.
last month we talked about the, PD salaries, the part-time wages, the new part-timers, there were 3 of them. And, at this point, we are now over the budget on that line item. There was some discussion that money would be moved. This was supposed to help on the overtime. The overtime budget is about where it should be at this point, percentage-wise.
You'll
Are
see
we
that
gonna see
movement.
that?
You'll see it next month. It couldn't be done by Lieutenant Martin. It's the chief's budget. He can be fired if he overexpends his budget, so it had to come directly from him. So he did, finally corresponded with Tim to make that transfer from one line to another. So you'll see it next month. But at the rate that we have some concerns, because at the rate they're using these part-timers, they're gonna use up that $15,000 transfer real quick. So,
And this was supposed to save us on overtime. If it's saving us on overtime, that's one thing. If it's not saving us on the overtime,
well, and
then-
that's the oxymoron of it, because of the union contract, the officers, the full-timers, the union members, first dibs on overtime. So if somebody wants to take up all the overtime, they can. So, I mean, my question with them, are we using them correctly, or are they being used to the advantage of the union member?
I'm concerned that we're just using,
Using
Pay
both
up.
of them,
So,
we're using the overtime and the part-timers.
yeah.
so we're gonna have to investigate that.
Office supplies, yeah, that's probably a question we'll wait, and that's at 39%, so we'll wait for the chief to be able to talk to us about that kind of stuff. The building improvements line hasn't moved from last time, so even though it's at 98%, it hasn't moved. The new uniform line, that's at 71%. I don't see that that's, normally that's all up front, and I would say that part of that would be because of the part-timers coming on. Training materials, again, that was part of the part-timers coming on, at least from my memory, which isn't always that great, but it's what I got to work with. The vehicle maintenance line, we've already discussed, there was some extra work done on vehicles. Were we having one of the vehicles
Yes. We bought another vehicle, and one's going to.
They've ordered it.
Right, but that wasn't my question, it wasn't the new vehicle, it was the, I saw one of the
It was
trucks
sold.
with saws stripped. Is that to be sold?
The auction,
Alrighty,
and we sold the highway truck.
legal expenses, we know that they're up there.
That will call
Yeah,
For,
lawsuit.
the,
We have a current lawsuit.
that's when it fell.
no, this was for the arrest, right? Weren't they working with another department at that time?
The SOU was involved. But that's not, that's, how much of this is public?
We also have a lawsuit that was,
It's on file,
that,
it's been filed, so it's public.
we also had a lawsuit that was filed and it cost us over $2,000 in legal fees and then it was dropped.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Please.
That one. The current one is, it was arrest procedure from our detectives when they're retired. But, you know,
You gotta go to court.
you gotta defend it,
Yeah.
even though they, you know, they seem to have done everything perfectly. We are in a position to defend ourselves, unfortunately.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions on the police department? On the highway department, the little concerns, the crew, the overtime, as I understand, because we just came out of, you know, very snowy winter, but the crew wages are up a little higher than they should be at this time. That could just
We
be
just had a
timing.
cleanup week too.
Wouldn't that all come out of overtime?
May.
Yeah.
Cleanup week, was that April?
No, that was May, you're right, it was May.
But the crew wages themselves are up a little high. But that could just be timing of payroll, too, it's not up that high. We'll keep an eye on it. And all those other lines that go with those, the Medicare, the life, the health, and dental stuff,
Oh,
that's
that would show up
nothing major. You know, the stuff, some of the stuff is up, you know, it's, but not just a smidge, but like you said, it's not up very high.
And I think it's probably stuff that's coming up.
Yeah, I think when
Winter.
you look in the,
Right. You know, you got the heat in there, yeah, that's high, it's not, that's gonna go down. You got the gas, diesel, that's not going down, there's not a lot that can be. You know, the equipment
Building
purchases,
supplies.
of course, you know, the winter salt and sand,
Building supplies at 65%, no, heat, oh no,
yeah.
heat, that's
Mhm.
entirely different. Gas, that's not, yeah, within their controls.
So nothing is really out of whack. I
Mhm.
mean, overall, like I said, the everything is pretty much,
We finished what?
the,
pickup.
that's the money that we encumbered, right? Isn't that the money we encumbered from last year from that truck?
It was raised and appropriated last year.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they wanna bring up in regards to the budget as to where we stand right now?
The compensated absences is at 71%.
Oh, right.
For, look at page 2, town hall, compensated absences.
Yeah, what is that? I did mark that. It's the
What line?
7th line down, or the 6th
Oh,
line
yeah.
down, on town
It's all the
hall.
way over to here to account.
Page 1,
Oh, it's on page 1.
yeah, on town hall.
I missed that one. Compensated absences.
Yeah, what's
Town
it?
hall.
Here twice?
There was nothing this month, but
Check it over here.
Oh, you're looking at the detail.
Break out the detail. Yeah, I thought it
You jump to detail, dude.
Oh, here it is.
Right here. Page 1.
Here we go.
Some of them have an opportunity to buy out time.
Right. And there was nothing this month that was done, so that would have been done for the
Just
first.
a couple months ago, did somebody buy some time back? Take some leave they had coming in cash? Town clerk, tax collector, or,
I don't know.
I didn't hear Jeff.
someone took some monies, against their time, they took cash instead. Last month?
Borrowed against time, you mean?
Yeah,
Right,
It's compensated absences, is that what that is? $3,500 didn't,
Cindy or Kim?
no, the death of,
Kim? The deputy town clerk, tax
Yeah.
collector?
didn't someone take some, I mean, it was allowable, they took vacation time paid, or they took some.
Yes, that was the deputy town
Is
clerk,
that what
tax
that,
collector.
does that fall
Right.
into
Probably,
that?
yeah.
We ran the same thing last year. There was, two or three
that wouldn't
thousand.
fall under that, no.
No,
That wouldn't
not
fall
under
under
that.
that?
No, fall into their regular pay.
I thought we did some of that.
Right.
But there was some of it in there, but that's.
Right, but that was,
You know what that is?
that was in March, back in, February, March. It wouldn't show up,
Was that in February?
she died in March.
What is the definition of the what falls under compensated absences? Because I think that's what, I think you're talking about.
They may have taken two different things.
Right, that's what I'm concerned about.
I thought it was the buyout of time.
That's what I thought it was. That had time. Right,
So it wasn't for vacation, sick dependent, whatever time, however you wanna classify it,
But
time
I
off.
don't have it.
Compensated absences is bereavement, it's bereavement time, they get 3 days off depending on their salary, so I mean, that would be a different amount. It certainly would be different in the selectman's assistants as opposed to a deputy tax collector's pay. Paid time off is sick, vacation, all in one, so you really don't differentiate between sick and, it's all compensated absence.
And buyout of time is as well.
And buyout, there's certain people that are eligible after 7 years that they can buy out a certain percentage of their paid time off.
It's paying for hours that are not worked.
Right,
No,
That's
So
how I
that
think
does
of it.
fall into that.
Yeah,
Right.
There's a lot of things that do. For me, it's paying for hours that aren't worked.
right.
paid time off means you get paid your normal pay when you're not working.
That's
So
correct.
that would come under salary line.
Well, you
instead of-
earn,
That would be
you earn a
vacations.
certain
That's
number of
vacation.
But
hours per month.
PTO, paid time off, you're paid your regular salary although you're not there, so it's not a compensated absence. It's
Right.
still
Earned
getting the
time.
same amount a week, you're not getting an extra, right?
Alright.
But you didn't work the hours.
Yeah, but you're still getting paid your regular salary, so it wouldn't be a compensated absence, it's
No,
still your
that's
salary.
vacation.
'Cause you get,
If you make $40,000 a year and you have 5 vacation days that you can take, 5 days off with
And
pay,
5
they come
PTO.
out of that $40,000 that you're making during the year. But if
That's
you
your
have,
wage.
but if you have, in addition to that, you have, another 15 vacation days that you can't use all 15 days, and you take some of them outside of your 40,000,
Right,
that's the compensated absence. Is that,
yes.
No, I look
no,
at it.
that's where it goes, that's what falls under that compensated absence line. If it's just a
not
regular
work-related.
vacation day, the compensated absence is not work-related? You
Well, I
confused me.
don't, no, I don't think of it that way. I think of it,
Compensated
on
absence, but what you're
vacations, you
saying
work,
isn't
you earn
actually an absence,
vacation,
you're saying they get
compensated
money for time
absences.
Aren't used.
I mean, the compensated absences is the other stuff.
now if you're
It's not
sick,
related
But what
to
about
work
snow
and
days?
salary.
Could that be days that town hall was closed because
We
of
don't
snow?
pay people who
You
go
don't
down
pay?
home and they go home, except for the salaried.
Okay. What
No.
Town
about,
hall closes at 1
what about
o'clock.
holidays?
That's when you just punched out.
so,
No, holidays that's a regular salary,
Okay.
that's in your wage, that's normal working conditions. This is beyond that.
No.
This
So
is
for
People get-
bereavement,
bereavement, the unusual that comes up. Yeah, something beyond normal salary, vacations,
sick pay,
yeah.
so sick pay is in the normal salary line.
do we have any idea what kind of an impact on our revenues this new law about motor vehicles being registered is going to have on,
There's only been some projections.
what are those projections?
To be honest with you, I've seen different projections. It depends on how it goes. Tilton won't be affected as much as others because Avatar, who runs our programming, has already allowed for it within our programming, so we won't have to spend those monies. Communities that don't, that could cost them upwards to $3,000 to $4,000 for the programming. Depending on the amount of revenue you bring in in motor vehicles, they're gonna hold our monies anywhere for up to 20 days, so there's an effect there. Communities that don't have our type of system are gonna spend more hours, so you see, it's gonna vary. We won't be hit as bad as communities that don't have our system, that, you know, maybe they work a couple days a week. They're gonna have a lot more work to do. Well, we have a deputy and a clerk, they'll have more work to do, but because of our automation, we'll have less. There'll be those that'll be still doing journal entry. So, it'll be interesting. I don't think the governor signed it yet.
Well, that was my next question, when does it go into effect?
I left it in the packet yesterday.
No, I heard you say that.
Does anybody have any other questions on the budget to date? Last item, the upcoming continuation of the town meeting. Did I say that right? Is everybody pleased?
Yep.
I give you the due to reconsideration.
The due to reconsideration, continuation, due to reconsideration. Still scheduled for the 20th, Friday the 20th,
At the middle school.
at the middle school. 6 o'clock,
Yes.
6 p.m.
Oh, there was not a notice up on the board, I looked when I came in, there's one from the original continuation, but there's not one
It will
for,
go in.
because that's 9 days, right? I thought
Right.
I thought it had to be up for 2 weeks, but.
They were waiting for today to put it up because we went over and actually viewed to see if the space would work. And we went over there with the moderator today.
It's cozy, but it's big enough.
In the cafeteria? Or
Yes.
The
The
cafeteria.
cafeteria at the middle school.
And 6 p.m. on May 20th.
We've been there before. Town meeting.
I'm sure where it is.
We had a town meeting there years ago.
We had a meeting there once,
After we
and I
left.
don't remember what it was for, but we did have a meeting in there once, it's a good memory.
Right after we left Tilton School, we had a
It
town
was,
meeting in there?
it was during the river park, front park
Yep.
whole thing, it was during that time, but we did have a meeting in there.
Alrighty, this portion of the town meeting is the reconsideration on the water line, going up to 61 Business Park Drive. Warrant article started out $650,000, with betterments betterments going to Nickerson in order to, because they were gonna pay $325 plus the $30,000 for their surveying. So, engineering. And at the last portion of town meeting, there was an amendment on the floor that basically they're gonna come up with their money up front. And that's where it stood when we left the meeting. So we'll reconsider that. When we originally voted back, I don't know.
December?
No, we probably voted on this, on the warrant articles in January.
Second week of March, the first time, oh, the budget
Budget
committee.
committee would have voted as the warrant article,
recommendation.
the original warrant article. There was a lot of discussion, and it was a close vote of 3-2, with the budget committee coming out with a recommendation of approval on it. I was not one of those people who voted in approval on that. I don't remember who was voting in approval other than Catherine.
I was.
John was, and Bob, I think you were as well.
I remember too, but I'm not sure, actually. Thought so much about it, I'm not sure where
Yeah.
it stood at that point.
I'm going to, John, ask you to speak at town meeting. Because I cannot stand behind the recommendation of the budget committee. I did not vote for it. I cannot vote for it. I don't believe in it personally. So I'm going to ask you as the vice chair to,
I think I had some. No, I don't know.
We're gonna get the sheriff from Greg out of your house.
as long as you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yes, Jane?
Tony, I just have some comments. You know, I was taken aback at the last continuation of town meeting when you got up and you read a 2-page statement. I think the impression most people got was that this was the consensus of the budget committee. And you as chair were expressing the views of the budget committee. And as a part of this, you not only spoke against the police department, but you brought up a lot of information on the water line.
It's all, was one and the same?
And you know, the day you came in, I came in and John came in later to collect information. The selectmen opened up their files. I re-listened to that tape. I taped that session. And I re-listened to that before this meeting tonight. And there are about 4 different points in here that you brought up that were covered in that session where we were pulling files. One, to be specific, was the $149,000 that you brought up in here. Well, what is it? That was explained in detail to you during that day that we came in. And you also made a rather snide comment in here that I really found offensive. And I didn't want people to think that as a member of the budget committee I would have said something like that. It was a question as to whatever that is. When you're talking about the schematic construction and the design contingency. And as I say, I listened just before this meeting tonight. And you were given more detail about what a schematic construction and design contingency was than the people who were at town voting. It was so specific that I was surprised that the selectmen answered you and discussed that. If you had listened to what went on in that fact-finding session, then you would have known that what a person from SciTech got up and said wasn't even appropriate to be said in that meeting because we hadn't reached that point. And Chairman Constantino actually said to you, we may not have a sound figure for the town meeting because this is the way it works. And she went into discussion about that. So I really, in the future, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't represent the budget committee as feeling the way this came across. It doesn't come across as Tony Belair. It comes across as this is what the budget committee feels. Especially when you've got a vote on water and more than half of your discussion was on the water lines. And it really wasn't even the correct information when you've already had a vote in the budget committee where the majority of people were in favor of the water line. So I would just like to go on record as saying in the future, I wish that you would let us know if you're going to be making a presentation like this so that maybe together we can come up with something that is agreeable to all of us and not just something that you have written.
Does anybody else on the budget committee have anything they'd like to say in regards to
I
that?
think that this, when Tony was speaking not on the water line, but on the police building itself, so it was specific to the police building. And the biggest problem was that when we discussed it in the budget committee I think it was turned down on the police building. And it was because we couldn't find information as a committee to provide that, and we couldn't get that information. So it wasn't particular on the water line, but
Well, this
Yeah.
from, I have a copy of it, and from here on, okay,
And that
it's
was,
on the water line.
and that was the main reason for my personal part, representing me, why I didn't want to have the police department up there. I could not see a firm number coming in. And that, so I think that was, my view was represented in that way. But I don't think it was particularly on the water line. But, you know, I agree we can go over what will,
I just think in the future, that should be, if the chair of a committee speaks at a meeting, then it should be clear that she's speaking on her personal, or if she is speaking for the committee, then I think we should have some input into what is said. Because I was at the public hearings, I was at most of the life safety meetings. I didn't see members of this committee there. I saw you at one of the hearings. And I don't think you took many notes. I mean, I was sitting behind you, so I was in a position to see. It just bothers me because I've had people say, well, I didn't think that was the way it was. To me personally, as a member of the budget committee, and you know, I couldn't defend what you said because I had no part in this.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why did you think it was acceptable to tape a meeting that I was in without letting me know that you
It
were
was right on the
taping it?
table in front of you. It's a little thing like that.
Did you clearly state that you were taping the meeting?
I didn't say that I wasn't. I just had it right out there.
I would prefer you wouldn't do that in the future.
And the
Okay.
91A, anyway, you take a public meeting, and that doesn't have to be. I
But
mean,
we were in a fact-finding session, it was not a
But
public
it-
meeting.
anytime you meet, the public is invited, and under 91A, you can tape or video, audio, any meeting. But, yeah, typically,
That's all. It's over and done with now. But I just, in the future, I would really wish that, you know, if you get up and proceed to speak for what appears to be the budget committee, just make sure that we have a consensus, or that we even have a work night and write it together.
Right. When Tony was making comments, it was based on our original vote and what we decided, all of us as a group, when we originally voted on the motion in January as the budget committee. And after that was a meeting when we all got together and were sorting through paperwork. That wasn't even given a notice as a public meeting. That wasn't a public meeting.
if you meet,
But you have to give a 10-day notice.
unless you're in, if you're having a workshop, the public can attend your workshop. Okay? Unless you're in a non-public session, if you meet for a workshop, whatever, the only difference between a regularly scheduled meeting and a workshop is, as a board, you cannot make a decision. You can't decide to meet again, you can't decide to accept, you can't, no decisions can be made. That's the only difference. It is still a meeting. It's what type of meeting it is, and the public can attend, except for non-public. That's the only difference.
But in the future, when I tape something, I will let you know that. But I was right in front. It's just like that one.
Oh,
And
well, I
had
looked
it
at that,
right
I
on the
assumed that was
table.
some kind of remote. I didn't know if it was a tape recorder.
I thought it was a cell phone. But, you know, when you're in a meeting, because of 91A, you can always expect to be videotaped or audioed. But there were some people that did, and it often happens, when the chairman speaks at any meeting, most people assume that you are speaking for the board you represent. And there were some people that came up to me and were a little confused. They said,
Well,
"I thought
nobody
the
has
budget
come up to
committee
me,
supported the
which
water."
is.
We supported
And I
the water,
said, well,
but
they
that
did
was a
support the
discussion
water,
of the
but they didn't
police.
support the police building, which did include water, so that's why water was spoken about in that article. But it's typical. I mean, you could stand up as a chairman and say, I am speaking as Tony Belair and not as chair, and people would still,
Which
be
you have done in the
confused.
past, but I thought that your comments at the meeting pretty well encapsulated what I thought to be our consensus. So I'm sorry if you didn't feel that way, Jane, but I absolutely think that based on our future, you know, our subsequent discussions after town meeting and our subsequent information that we gleaned, that it actually pretty well captured what I thought was the consensus of the committee, so. I had no problem with it, but I'm sorry if others did.
I have no problem.
But there was some stuff in here, and I don't wanna belabor it, because I've said my piece. But there's information in here that's just incorrect. I mean, you mentioned again a water tower. I thought we had resolved that. Mentioned again.
No, we have not resolved
Never
that.
resolved
We have
that.
not resolved the water tower, and it has nothing to do with the fact that there wouldn't be a water tower needed at 61 Business Park Drive. It's if somebody else builds another building in there, would they then need a water tower? And if that is the case, where does that increase the value of those properties? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it says in there.
Let's see. Says, while reviewing the information available from the Board of Selectmen, I saw an estimate that included $120K for a water system to provide water to the sprinkler system. But instead, we're planning on spending up to $325K of taxpayers' money to bring water up from J. Jill. I don't know where that came from. Let me see, where's the... Oh, the estimated total cost of bringing water line up to 61 Business Park Drive is closer to $650K. Well, I think that was brought out, though. I mean, I don't think that was anything new. And it's presented here as though somebody was playing games with the amount of money that was being spent. And I thought it was very clear that it was $650,000. To me, in all the meetings I went to, later on that's what the figure was. It never changed.
No, and it never, is there something there that I said that it was $650,000?
Well, no, you're saying that, well, it started here and then it went here, and I don't know what it is. I mean, that was, the whole gist of what you had to say was that you were very confused because the selectmen were presenting, or the Life Safety Committee were presenting all these different figures. Well, what is it?
Did you look at the numbers? I'm not gonna get into this with you, Jay.
Okay, I'm not either, Tony, as I
Well,
said,
it's time to end it.
Okay.
Okay?
But I just wanted to go on record and saying, please make sure that everybody agrees before you present it that way. Thank you.
Any other business that needs to come before the board?
I have one other thing.
Okay.
Just, I think we voted on the water line. It was 3-2 or something like that. And I just want to explain some of my thoughts in hopes of persuading a few other non-agreeing people why I actually
I agree.
in support of the water line. I look and I see like my children graduating from high school and that, and I look at myself and I travel to Hudson for high-tech type jobs or good paying jobs. In this area presently, and watching the kids go out and try and get jobs, I see Wendy's, the outlets, and they're all like minimum wage jobs. And I really feel strongly that a $325,000 investment to put the line in would be very beneficial to the town, especially for promoting to get some industry and higher paying jobs and more permanent jobs as opposed to seasonal. And that's, and I think the investment and the return, if they connect up, was my thoughts that it would be very beneficial. And I realize it's a tough time for the town, but seeing as we've got Nickerson in there and his dedication to trying to get an industrial area in our town was my thoughts. And that's why I'm supporting it. And I hope that other people will do that.
I think if we want to sell 61 Business Park Drive too, that plays a major role in it.
As well as
If we don't put water up there, I think we're gonna take a real bath, and it's gonna really screw the taxpayers. Well, that was no pun intended. No pun intended.
We'll have to carry the water up by in buckets.
But I really don't think that we'll be able to sell that property even close to what it's worth, or potentially worth, if we don't get water up there.
that's it.
I just have a statement I wanted to read into the record. I'll give you a copy of this again. It just kind of explains some things that have taken place before selecting decisions we've made. It has come to the attention of the Board of Selectmen that the finance officer, town administrator, and the administrator's assistant, all salaried positions, have been averaging much more than 40 hours per week. It is unfair to these salaried positions who will not be receiving raises this year to work more than 40 hours per week. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen are asking the Budget Committee to email, please try to avoid phone calls, any questions they may have for these town officials, who will respond by email as soon as they are able. Recently, it cost the town over $1,000 to prepare a right-to-know request from a Budget Committee member who failed to pick up the packet of documents. These officials will no longer routinely attend meetings, and the finance officer is not attending the selectmen's meeting as well, routinely. So it's not just the Budget Committee, it's both, because they're averaging closer to 70 hours a week. So to make it easier for Johanna,
Yep,
if you want.
throw that in the little envelope. Anything else?
I have one if you want.
Question, is Joanna not gonna be here, we're gonna tape it, she'll only just done tonight.
Her
Her
father
father
died.
passed away last
Oh,
month.
I didn't know, okay.
Yeah,
I meant to get a card for all of us to
Yeah,
sign, but I
I didn't know.
just didn't get out to get it.
he's such a
Very
good
suddenly.
guy.
It was one.
He rallied so many times, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
Alright,
I have one thing, if you'd like. I just want to give you a short preview of upcoming, that we've met with LGC and we've met with, I guess they're both LGC, Risk Management and others about the PD, the current conditions of the PD. And right now, it's in the brainstorming stage, and it's up and coming, and we're not going to do anything until the chief comes back, but there are some issues there that we need to prioritize, and let me rephrase that, there are some liabilities there that have to be addressed and addressed immediately. Our job right now is to prioritize which one is to be done and how they can be done. So just to give you an update of where we are with that, that's coming in the next month or two.
Unfortunately, we'll be spending a lot of money in a building that we know is not adequate for our needs.
If I could just make an
a
announcement,
motion to adjourn.
if I can make an announcement, we're having an open house at the fire station on the 18th. We're trying to recruit employees, but it's also geared towards enlightening the public as to what we do, where we live, and what our days consist of. The open house is from 11 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night.
For the fire
Yes, at the park, at the Center Street Station.
Center Street Station,
Yeah.
all day long, open
Yes.
house, come in, and looking for recruits.
We're looking for recruits, yeah, but, you know, we'd like to have some visitors come in and just see what we've done with the inside of the building based on the amount of money that was raised last year. And all our duty people will be there. At least all the officers from the call department will be there off and on all day. If someone shows an interest in various pieces of equipment that are located down on Park Street, we'll go down to Park Street and show them what's going on. But we'll have enough people available so that they can stay on. If a call comes in, the duty people will leave. And so we encourage you to come if you can.
Great. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Back to the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any comments? No? Okay, call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No moved.
You want me to shut those here? I didn't know if you wanted to do it.
Nice try.
Andy,
The only shredder I have is my wood stove.
Equally efficient.
I like mine at home better than I like the one I have at work because my cross cuts.
Yeah, my
Catherine and I have forever.
You know, and I used to get apart, I used to spend so much time putting stuff back through my
Don't
shredder
forget your phone, John.
before I got
Oh,
the
thanks.
one, because I'd look at it.
You know, I would leave that.
You all right?
The number would be on the strip.
But see,
And I,
the same
finally
thing,
said, this
you
is
know what I do?
ridiculous. I went,
I have a
"Go
spare
for one
battery.
that does the little
I
check."
have a nerve
So,
outside.
I bought,
I worked about it. I was doing medical billing for a while, a number of years ago. They had a shredder.
spare
Things were
charge battery
inch
that
wide.
went in the car.
They used to that, it's simple, so go through here. You know, I'm obviously, the average person isn't gonna wade through this
There's
stuff,
some
but
things
you
that
could
email
piece this stuff
monitoring
together
is
so
something that,
easily.
I'm gonna run
but the
this like
Verizon site, when you go into the phone
I'm just gonna run this
suggestions,
upstairs and put it on her.
Yeah.
the comments,
That's why I installed the test
I have some
code.
health officers.
yeah, and that probably runs constantly.
No, it does,
Drains
but everything else
battery.
does.
Oh, my.
Lynn, did you see, Lynn?
Yes.
I wanted to go see the snow event, no.
It did, it
I
actually.
drove by
Yeah.
something today, I'm going like this, and you must have thought, who's that?
I didn't, you know, I saw you waving, and I didn't know who it was, but I think I waved back, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, they did a nice, they cleaned it up yesterday, actually, they did a beautiful job, they shredded all the leaves and stuff that were there, and they actually have taken it and groomed the trails, it was beautiful.
Besides the doors.
Well, you should, because the shorts. It really, and they've done a beautiful job, they mulched all the trails with the stuff.
I'll be here all night.
And it just is beautiful.
I'll leave that right back.
Yeah, well, stop by and say hi when you do.
Let's see the point. Because if we have a discussion with Tilton, then at the end of that discussion, they say, all right, let's leave this going, why it is that way. And we agree that that's fair, then that's fine. And we say, we don't think it's fair, then we get a party involved, because that's change.
Right.
So, you know, we agree that there's a I'm sitting in the chair. He's sitting in Catherine's chair.
Yeah.
I look across the desk to him, so is that the why I says that you understand that you're not gonna go before the selectmen on your own?
Yeah.
And he goes, what do you mean? I said,
No,
I
he's
said,
got.
you called him today, and you were trying to get information, and you said that you wanted to come before the selectmen. You were talking to him, so I doubt it. I said, I heard it from someone else,
Right.
Good night.
and I assured that someone else, two of them, they were, one, that we operate as a board,
Right.
not one person, no renegade people. See, I don't agree with it, I will not support it. That's the way I'm at. You think I would do that? But you're right, I would. I said, and furthermore, I said, we could do overseas. He stared at me, he was dead stared at me.
So we go walk the church around.
I have to, I have that, oh, I have
How
that.
did you resolve that thing with the school,
Good idea.
the little trip hazard?
So I went and told the health officer, and they need to fix that before I came back.
Okay. What did they say?
Okay.
There you go, you can go home now.
Thank you. They said, okay. I've gone in there, I inspect the school.
And
I'm not one of the-
Yesterday, but there was an awful lot of us, and I said, there's no room for that in the room.
We're allowed.
Half of Tilton was
Combined,
there,
see, you're right.
half of Tilton was there.
I wasn't there. I mean, I was there, but I
Well,
wasn't
you
there.
could have come up and gotten cookies, Tom got his award yesterday.
Where'd you find
no,
your
I stay in my
cane?
little office. I'll run away.
I don't blame you on that one, there was too many kids running
Yeah,
around.
it was hanging on that sign.
I know you
I
want
figured as
myself
soon
in
as I
trouble.
saw it there, that.
See you guys on the 20th.
All right, okay.
Okay. Cause I looked all over where you said you walked.
But I came in and it wasn't here,
Right.
so I was paying.
That was where you started to say, where are you gonna go?
So when I went out, I told Joyce,